West Virginia, Mountain Mama, or not. We got all the preview for you. We're gonna break down West Virginia, break down Koa Peat coming to Tucson tomorrow, and so much more. AZ Wildcats Podcast in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere.
Wildcats Podcast. I am your host, Damon Fairall. Of course, my boy Kevin. As always, Kevin Thomas. Pressing buttons, doing it all, being the utility man behind the scenes there. And we got a lot to get into today, guys. Arizona basketball, of course, coming off of 2 straight dubs in the Big 12 Conference, heading into their matchup in West Virginia tomorrow night at 5 p.m. tip-off. And we got some transfer portal nuggets to talk about as well, Kevin. Jam-packed day, and you're not going to want to miss it here on the AZ Wildcats Podcast. We're going to talk through it all. How you doing today, Kevin? What's the vibe on a Monday?
The vibe is good, Damon. It's a happy Monday. Damon knows, I'm not a huge Monday proponent. It's not my favorite day of the week, but today's been a good day. I got up early, got after it, ready to talk about some Arizona hoops and football.
About 2 months ago, didn't you reclaim Mondays, though?
Yeah. I've been trying to take back Mondays for myself. It's hard to, you can't just let a day of the week dominate the way that you feel about that day of the week. You gotta take charge. You gotta have urgency. Just like Arizona's offense, you gotta dictate to the defense what's going down. You can't just let the defense dictate to you what's going down. So that's where I'm at. Happy Monday, everybody. Ready to get after it for yet another week.
Absolutely. And of course, something to get into, and we'll talk about it more later. But Tucker Devries, West Virginia's best or second best player, coach's son, I believe, as well, lit the Wildcats up in their first game of the season, and is questionable to play in this upcoming matchup. Could be something to monitor there. But we also had some presser comments from Tommy Lloyd, and following the win against Cincinnati in Cincinnati, Arizona obviously goes into that game. Kind of a backs up against the wall game for Cincinnati. They don't want to drop to 0-2 in conference. Arizona 1-0 against TCU. Kind of a step up in competition against Cincinnati, and really controlled the game from start to finish, regardless of that 5-minute stretch run there where they couldn't score any points at all. But Tommy Lloyd had a lot to say post game about how the Wildcats played, and here is his comments on the presser.
I mean, listen, I'm hoping, you never know, right? Like, these games are tough, and you're hoping. It's obviously a great environment when you show up, before tip-off and every seat's full. It's going to be something special. And I thought for 30 minutes we did an unbelievable job keeping that crowd really quiet. And then we maybe got a little fatigued, and their sense of urgency amped up a little bit, created some turnovers, and they got out in transition and kind of obviously got themselves back in the game. But that's something for us to continue to look at. Hey, it's tough to get a 19-point lead at a place like Cincinnati.
Yeah, Damon, and you heard Tommy Lloyd talk about it right there. We've been talking about it all season. The adjustment to Big 12 play is going to be huge for this team. And I think that, the longer this Arizona program is in the Big 12, the easier it's going to be when they encounter these tough road environments. We were talking about learning how to win in these tough environments for this team that's kind of got a new outlook on itself. These are big tests early in conference play. And the fact that, you kind of defended the Cincinnati crowd, Damon. You were saying that they did get quite raucous towards the end of that game, which is true. They did indeed get quite raucous towards the end of that game. But once Cincinnati was giving them something to be raucous about, right? So my thing is Tommy Lloyd spoke about it there. When you have that big lead, you have to continue to suffocate the crowd. They did do a great job of quieting down the crowd in the first half of that game. For 3/4 of that game, they did a great job silencing the crowd. And On the road in the Big 12, you cannot let other teams' crowds get into it because it will make it drastically harder on you. Whether you're playing Kansas or whether you're playing Oklahoma State, it really doesn't matter, right? You cannot let these Big 12 schools get going in their home environments. And we have another game coming up just like that. West Virginia is just like that. One player that didn't play, we're going to preview that in a little bit, but one player that didn't play a lot in that first West Virginia matchup, Damon, was Carter Bryant. We're going to speak a little bit about that later, but Tommy Lloyd also had a little bit to say about Carter Bryant, his development, and just his role on this team. I mean, we've been excited about it, but let's hear just how excited Tommy Lloyd is to talk about Carter Bryant.
I should wear my glasses because I didn't see that. But no, Carter, listen, Carter's really making progress. And the one thing about Carter is, I've told him, I mean, he checks two boxes that are really hard to check. He's an elite talent and he has elite character. The game is going to come to him. The refinement's going to come. The experience is going to come. And the progress he's made in the last month has been game-changing for us. And I'm really proud of him because you know what? When you're somebody with Carter's stature and you come to a place like Arizona, the expectations, might be a little unrealistic. Sometimes it works out for freshmen right away. A lot of times it doesn't. And you just got to hang with it. And he's hung with it. And he's continued to get better. He's had an amazing attitude. I mean, he hits 5 for 5, 3 for 3. He should have made that other free throw. He had a perfect night, Carter. But just super proud of him and the person that he is.
Yeah, Damon. I mean, you heard him there kind of joking with Carter about how, hey, if you made that free throw, you would have had a perfect game. But no, I think we've been talking about it all year, right? Carter Bryant's role on this team is an ongoing story. It's not something that is set in stone at any one point. At the beginning of the season, I was not a proponent of putting Starter Bryant.
Starter Bryant. I love that.
Can we get that going? Starter Bryant? But no,
that's hard.
I was not a proponent of Starter Bryant, the Starter Bryant movement, but now I am because he's developed. His game has changed, and Coach Lloyd has spoke to it just right there. His maturity in his game and his mentality towards the game has altered, and that has allowed him to see more minutes, more success when he's playing those minutes. And yeah, Damon, what do you think about the development of Carter Bryant as we enter more Big 12 play here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Carter Bryant, what we've seen as of late has been, nothing short of a dream come true for this fan base and what this team needed. The best version, we've said it before, the best version of this team includes Starter Bryant.
Bryant, yes.
100%. Like the ceiling of this team includes Starter Bryant. So I think, when you hear Tommy speak so glowingly, it all it does for me is just kind of reinforce that kind of mentality that I already had, which was, yeah, we need Carter Bryant to be playing big minutes if this team wants to get to the spot that they want to late in the season. And I love the way that he speaks on a guy like Carter Bryant. I think a lot of times maybe you hear coaches with like a highly touted guy like that that's not starting necessarily in his first season. You hear a coach maybe like talk more about, their mental lapses or, they need to mature a little bit more. But with Carter Bryant, it seems like Tommy Lloyd is very, very comfortable with his personality and who he is, loves the person even as much, if not more than he loves the player. And I really think the sky's the limit.
I totally agree. And I think what makes the sky the limit for a player like Carter Bryant is that mentality that you spoke to, being a student of the game, being a sponge for knowledge, being coachable are all great. I mean, all the greats have those tools, right? At any level of any sport, all the greats are coachable and they want to learn more and they want to be a student of the game. And Carter Bryant seems to have all of that in spades. I remember, when we were opening up non-conference play, I was watching Sports Center and Tommy Lloyd was on there and he was kind of speaking to why we aren't seeing more Carter Bryant and his answer was he's out there trying not to make mistakes, he's trying not to do anything wrong at the risk of looking silly or not earning that starting spot as soon as maybe he expects himself to,
playing kind of passive,
because of the stature that Tommy Lloyd said that he comes into Arizona with. But now months later, he's matured, and he's no longer afraid of making mistakes. He's just trying to play Carter Bryant ball, Starter Bryant ball, if you will. And yeah, I mean, I think it's been beautiful. I can't wait to see the final product this year with a player like Carter Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting 5-for-5 shooting nights, to be honest with you, for
7 for 7. You're
on
right. You're right.
on consistent nights. But I do think that what we've seen recently is more of the true picture of what we expect to see for Carter Bryant. And again, like I don't expect to see the same level of sharpshooting that I saw from Carter in that Cincinnati game in particular, where he's just throwing it up there and just wet balls all over the place. But Kevin loves that. But
You're a goofy guy, Damon.
I do think that the way that he had a quick trigger, the way that he was catching those passes and just automatically saying, "This is my shot, I'm putting it up." That's what you like to see. I mean, they're not always going to go in. We know that it's basketball, but if you see that trigger and you see him, that confidence growing night in and night out, I mean, that's everything that you could hope for. And I love watching the development of these players. Like, I think that's, for us as fans, that's one of the more fun things in college sports. It's something that we've lost in large part due to the transfer portal and one and dones in college basketball in particular. But I'm hopefully Carter Bryant's the type of player where he's ascending and then he sticks around next year and we truly see that final form and that final evolution of Carter and what he can be.
Yeah, I would love to see that too, Damon. I hope that we get a year or two of Carter Bryant. Obviously, that's all dependent upon how much he balls out in these next 3 months here. But I was thinking during your take there that it's interesting that Arizona has kind of two of these players. Actually multiple of these guys, like multiple players that are fun projects for fans to be a part of the manifestation of, right? Like KJ Lewis, Henri Veesaar, Carter Bryant, all players that even Caleb Love to a different extent, right?
Yeah.
Are all projects and they're all work in progresses that we as fans get to watch on a day in, day out basis and just enjoy the development of. I think that's like an underrated thing about this team. It's a very good point you bring up, because we were talking about how rare it is you get a guy who redshirts in his second year and sticks around like a Veesaar and then develops into this guy who's a huge rotational piece for them. A KJ Lewis, who's literally just in his sophomore season. He has so much more to go, so much farther to go as a player, and I can't wait to see him reach it. So yeah, no, I think Arizona and Tommy Lloyd loves these players that aren't finished products coming into college, and yeah, I do appreciate that about Arizona. Damon, what do you take away from Tommy's road comments? I know that I kind of dominated that answer there, but what do you take away from Tommy's attitude towards Arizona facing tough road environments, because they're going to face one in West Virginia?
Yeah, no, West Virginia is a crazy place to play. Obviously have a really, really rabid fan base over there. And I think it's a good like kind of gear up for what the Big 12 conference is going to be. I don't know that we've, in Cincinnati, obviously, there's been some talk about kind of nullifying that environment and really hushing the crowd there. So I do think that this is going to be by far the biggest test from a road environment that they've sustained thus far. The players on the team last year did play at Duke, so maybe they can kind of use that, like the Caleb Loves, the KJ Lewises of the world. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this team responds to that kind of environment, how this team can kind of weather that storm throughout this entire conference season, because we know the Big 12 conference, as far as opponents and away trips go, it's probably the craziest that you're going to find in the entire country.
Yeah, I totally agree with that last point you had there. And I think that the most important thing for me when we're talking about the crowd noise and can Arizona weather that storm in West Virginia, I think Arizona can. I think that Arizona will. I think that the key will be the same way they came out against Cincinnati, coming out with just as much fire against West Virginia. You have to stifle these crowds early, make them feel that angst early, and make that angst last through halftime. That's what you have to do. And then come out in the second half and keep your foot on their neck, so to speak. And so I think Arizona has all the tools to do that against a team like West Virginia that might not have Tucker Devries. And we're going to talk more about that after this upcoming break right here. But yeah, I think Arizona should be able to weather that storm, Damon.
Absolutely. We're going to talk all the much more about West Virginia, about Tucker Devries, about Darian DeVries, his dad, the coach of that program nowadays, after this break on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, if you are excited for the Arizona Wildcats to face off against the West Virginia Mountaineers tomorrow, I have a friend that might help you enjoy that game just that much more. Yes, Colt Cannabis and True Leaf are at it again. Our friends at Colt Cannabis are now available in your local True Leaf with a huge variety of premium flower and that True Leaf exclusive magic marker. Now, if you're not going to Maricopa, the Maricopa True Leaf location on January 11th for the grand opening and copying yourself some magic marker from Colt Cannabis, like, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Great flower is hard to find these days, but luckily you can find it at True Leaf with our friends at Colt Cannabis. Be sure to check out the new True Leaf location, like I just mentioned, opening in Maricopa on January 11th, and get over to trueleaf.com to find your local shop or place an order and tell them PHNX sent you.
I almost can't think of a better pairing, Kevin, than Colt Cannabis, True Leaf, and our friends over at Circle K. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to stop at that Maricopa location when it opens up. You're going to get your care package. Then on your way home, you're going to stop at the thousands of Circle K locations that you can find here in the state of Arizona, in the Valley. And you're going to go and get some of the best snacks, best drinks, just best prices in general that you could find out there when it comes to a convenience store. Genuinely the best prices. And of course, if you want to get even better prices, you're going to want to sign up for that Inner Circle Rewards membership. They're always giving us deals on that Inner Circle Rewards app. It's very easy to sign up. You can sign up at the pump, get 25 cents off your first 5 fill-ups, then 3 cents every single fill-up after that, until you become a premium member like me, like Kevin, like all our friends here at PHNX, where you become a premium member and you get 5 cents off per gallon every single time you fill up. And let me tell you, folks, that adds up over time. So make sure you guys join the Inner Circle, the free membership program over there, and enjoy your member-exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
You know, Damon, I actually went out of my way to go to Circle K last night. I could have went literally anywhere else. I passed multiple other gas stations.
Inferior gas stations?
Yes, I passed multiple other ones, but I had to go to Circle K last night. It just had to be.
What was the pickup? What did you scoop?
I literally needed gas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we were on E.
Yeah, I was low. I was real low, and that's how you know I really needed the Circle K pickup, because I needed that extra, 3 cents off a gallon, and it adds up when you need pretty much a full tank. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, they have the best gas in the business over there at Circle K, and you really just can't beat them. You can't. I love Circle K. It's where the people's at. It genuinely is where the people are at. All right, Kevin. So we got a little bit more West Virginia to talk through. We're going to talk through the specifics of our opponent a little bit more so now. West Virginia, you have written here, the third straight top 20 defensive team that Arizona will play to open Big 12 play after TCU and, of course, Cincinnati that we just played. Really, really strong defensive group here in the Big 12. I mean, I know that that's not exactly like shocking. This is what we came to expect going into this conference, but it is wild to see just like how many of these Big 12 teams are just at the top of the defensive rating standings, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it literally all year. We're going to sound like broken records, FYI, but it's going to be a defensive slog against almost all of these Big 12 teams, because that is Big 12 basketball. That's just what it is. And so Arizona, the more tests that we see them pass, the more confidence that we as fans should have that they can hang and that they can do their thing in this conference and not worry about facing 3 of the top 20 defensive teams in your first 3 conference games. Which is a ridiculous statistic. And West Virginia is not just some, glass giant. They're 11-2, 2-0 in conference. It's best ever start since, or not best ever start, but best start since 2017. Darian DeVries, let's talk about him. I mean, he first year coach at West Virginia. He's got the by God Mountaineers playing out of their mind, and he has the fan base believing against, and that's half the battle. When you go on the road, Damon, on the road into Fog Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And you get the dub. That's huge. That's a massive victory.
Without one of your two best players as well.
Yes, it's a massive victory, and I think it speaks to the culture of the team, and by that I mean just the type of game that Darian DeVries wants to instill into his ball club. I think that kind of speaks to it. He kind of has like a next man up, no excuses kind of mentality to him, from what I've gathered, and that's kind of that's how you win road games in Kansas by 1 point, is not having any excuses and having a next man up mentality. There are other notable wins featured Georgetown, obviously. Battle for Atlantis happened. The overtime game happened. We don't gotta,
Georgetown stinks these days.
No, that's true. Yeah. That is true. Georgetown does stink these days. Arizona does not stink these days. Gonzaga, they also have a victory over Gonzaga at a neutral site.
Another big win. Yeah,
that's another big win. But that's just some of their notable wins this season.
I'm just looking at those 3 wins there, Kevin, and their record. How on earth are they not ranked?
That's a great question, Damon. And I think it's one of those situations where if you're on West Virginia, you're just looking around like,
what do we got to do?
I guess we just got to keep beating everybody.
We beat Kansas on the road. We beat Arizona on a neutral site, and we beat Gonzaga.
Beat Gonzaga at a neutral site.
A neutral site. Like,
and I mean, I know Georgetown isn't a big deal, but they're still ranked highly, like by statistical by metrics and things like that. So.
But that probably, like, I'd have to do more research into it. But that sounds like, to me, like I would be hard pressed to find a trio of better wins in the entire country than what West Virginia has.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's not as if they're
71 in the chat says they're number 21,
okay.
So it's possible we just missed. So
they got added this morning.
They got added this morning. Thanks. Shout out chat. Shout out Billiton. Shout out Five of a Kind for that.
Yeah, definitely deserved, and 100% a team that Arizona is going to be, facing a caliber of all season long. I mean, just looking here real quick at the KenPom defensive ratings, Kevin, to usher your point in earlier, there are 7 teams, including Arizona, in the top 27 of defensive rating teams in the entire country out of 364 total. So yeah, 7 of that top 27 is like half the Big 12 conference. Pretty ridiculous when you think about it. Like, just such a hard-nosed, defensive, gritty conference. And then ASU, of course, they're only 34. They're 7 spots behind that on the outside looking in there. So even more schools, kind of waiting their turn. It's funny how this is played out, where we just keep getting like a step above, I feel like, in the Big 12. Like, we start with TCU, and it's like TCU is like built like every single Big 12 team, except they're just not as talented as them. Then we go up to Cincinnati, and they're kind of like an average Big 12 team that plays like, a quintessential Big 12 team. And now we're playing West Virginia, which seems like they have the potential to be a really, really strong team throughout this entire season. My eyebrows are definitely raised at the Mountaineers and what they've done, and what Darian DeVries has been able to accomplish so far in his first season. So it's gonna be interesting to see if like Arizona can continue to their ascension and their step up in competition as their teams that they play get better and better.
Yeah, I'm excited, and you speak to Arizona kind of taking steps up and steps up. This might be like a half step up, because you're rematching a team you already played, right?
True.
You played 5 quarters with them. So you really know this team intimately this season, at least. They might not have their best player. Let's speak a little bit about that real quick. Tucker Devries, let's look at his stats here from this season so far, averaging 14.9 points a game. 4.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 41.2% from the field is the 6'7" transfer. He might not play in this upcoming matchup tomorrow, Damon. Darian DeVries kind of keeps the injury news really close to the chest. He likely, Tucker, his son, likely tweaked his surgically repaired shoulder either before or early in the Georgetown game. There are even rumblings from some beat reporters of a medical red shirt for Tucker Devries this season, which really made my eyebrows raise because he has looked amazing for this West Virginia squad. And if you don't have him, that's a big loss for West Virginia. Damon, if Tucker Devries does not play, how obviously it's a huge deal, but how impactful is it immediately to you with your analysis of this game?
In terms of Arizona basketball and the way that we play, I think it's massive, because I mean, just looking back at his previous game against Arizona, like, he was the reason that West Virginia won that basketball game. West Virginia beats U of A, of course, by 7 points in overtime. Tucker Devries in 36 minutes scores 26 points and shoots 8 of 12 beyond the 3-point line. 8 of 12. Just could not miss. Definitely certainly felt like that. Like I didn't remember that 8 of 12 number specifically, but eye test wise, like it felt like he was hitting 70% of his threes almost on that high of volume. And if he doesn't play we've talked about like Arizona, it seems like the way that they play defense, a lot of times one guy ends up with the ball in his hand on the opposing team a lot and just is just hitting everything, right? And there's just one guy that we look at on the other side and we go, we can't stop him. And Tucker DeVries was that guy for West Virginia. And if we can just completely take him out of the conversation, like I think it drastically improves Arizona's chances of winning this game, because I'm not comfortable playing a sharpshooter like that. To me, that's the exact type of player that's gonna like crush us late in the tournament, crush us, in the Big 12 tournament. Like this is exactly the player that I think is like our Achilles heel. So I would say it's absolutely massive. What say you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the fact that Tucker DeVries is likely not going to play really gives Arizona a leg up in this matchup on the road, because I mean should I speak to it now? I mean the bigs are not plentiful for West Virginia. They do not have a lot of front court depth.
Yeah,
and it's honestly one of my keys to the game is attacking the rim. If Arizona, who has a plethora of players that can get downhill and attack the rim at will, that's going to go a long way for Arizona to win this game. Eduardo Andre is the only big on their roster who is above 6'8", Damon. The only one. He's the only one. I think he stands at 6'11", but he's been a victim of foul troubles at times this year, which has really hurt West Virginia because they don't have that front court depth, as I was just speaking to. So I think if you can get Caleb Love, Jaden Bradley, KJ Lewis downhill, maybe you get that big into foul trouble, that is going to let Henri Veesaar eat.
Yeah.
He's going to eat, because Damon, this is my second key to the game. Henri Veesaar and Carter Bryant, can you guess how many minutes they played against West Virginia in the Battle for Atlantis, the game that went to overtime? Combined.
I'm going to guess they played 11 minutes combined.
They played 14 minutes combined. Henri Veesaar played just 3 minutes in that contest. I don't think that's going to be the case this time.
Honestly, if you want to know my real thought process going through that, I actually tried to just guess what Carter Bryant's minutes were, which is funny. I got that on the button because I didn't think that Veesaar played in that game. So I was trying to be like, what? Carter Bryant played 11 minutes in that game, which he did. That was I'm going to, pat myself on the back there for that one.
As you should. Yes, I like that idea. But no, Carter Bryant, since that game against West Virginia, has not played. Well, he did against UCLA, but that was a tough game. Outside of the UCLA loss, Carter Bryant has played more minutes in every game since, and I think that we're going to see him play 20+ minutes like he did against Duke, like he did against TCU. I think we're going to see 20+ minutes out of Carter Bryant. I think we're going to see the same out of Henri Veesaar, Henri Veesaar in his last 5 contests has played 26 minutes, 18 minutes, 17 minutes, 14 minutes, and 27 minutes. I think just the impact of having those two players in particular play an outsized role in this game is going to completely change the optics of this game. I don't think this game's going to look the same as it did when Arizona played West Virginia in the Battle for Atlantis, because of Carter Bryant and because of Henri Veesaar. And the third reason, because if Tucker DeVries does not play, that's massive as well.
Honestly, I think that's a great point. This is kind of a new look Arizona based off of what we think our best lineup is now versus what we thought it was in that Battle for Atlantis tournament. And hopefully this team is growing a little bit and these players are finding their role and getting a little bit more comfortable. I'll honestly I'll take Carter out of the equation. I trust Carter to have a good game. I think Veesaar is maybe the key to this game, the number one key to this game, as you've kind of highlighted. He going up against a guy, a 6'8" big on the other end, who that's the one guy they got. That's an advantage that we have. That's a mismatch that we have. Veesaar is an athletic guy. He goes up strong. He's been playing extremely physical. I think that's a matchup that we're gonna have to exploit, and that Tommy Lloyd and the Wildcats are definitely gonna have to exploit if Arizona's going to win this basketball game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking at the most frequent lineups over the last 5 games for the Mountaineers. And if Eduardo Andre, who is the 6'11" center that I was discussing earlier, if he's not in the lineup, their biggest man is 6'8", and they at times in their third most frequent lineup move Jonathan Powell down to the 4, who is just 6'6". So I think, again, if you can get Eduardo Andre on the bench, sitting on the pine
from London.
Yes, I think that Henri Veesaar could seriously look like. I mean, Arizona fans, we were freaking out about the stuff he was doing against guys his size, like Aziz Bendalgo last game.
Yeah.
Whew. Let Jonathan Powell switch on to Henri Veesaar. Let it happen. I want to see it.
Eduardo Andre from London, England is like, that's the most NBA 2K create a player draft
You just
class.
got done watching the Eric Andre special, and you're
like, how is that name an English name? That's nuts. Is it not? Eduardo Andre?
Eduardo Andre.
And he plays basketball, and he's from London?
Yeah. I mean,
he's 6'11"?
This is a worldly man of culture. This is a worldly man.
That's wild, dog.
Yes. But, Damon, you said Henri Veesaar is your first key to the game. Can you give me another key to this game? What do you think plays a huge role? Maybe not a player, but maybe a theme that we've been talking about. What do you think Arizona needs to do to win this game?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say, put me on the spot here, but I'm going to go ahead and say, I'd like to see more in-game coaching out of Tommy, I guess. Not that I think that he's like debilitating this team, but just in the sense of like when Cincinnati goes on that run, those big runs, what are we doing to switch things up and get back to, the brand of basketball that Arizona was playing beforehand, right? What changes are being made and adjustments are being made in those timeouts and in those, out of bounds plays and whatnot to get back to the level of basketball that they were playing in that first half. So that's kind of where I'd like to see, like, if West Virginia goes on a run, what are we doing to really nullify that run? What are we doing to hamper it and just slow things down and get back to playing the way that Arizona wants to play?
Yeah, I think you said that really well. I mean, we've been talking about in-game adjustments being like an underrated flaw, so to speak, of Tommy Lloyd's coaching acumen. And I think that's it's his weakest.
I think it's his weakest attribute, and I don't think that that's saying like anything horribly wrong against him because I think that he's elite in basically every other attribute.
Exactly. Yes.
I think his overall development and the way that his style of play he tries to play and his recruiting, like I'm so comfortable about all of those things, even the recruiting, which I know a lot of people have, had some concern about. That's not something that I've necessarily been bothered by. The in-game coaching and the stopping of these runs has always been what's bothered me. Like I mentioned before when we talked about this, that Princeton game, like I think about it every day before I go to bed. Just like, I feel like we just tried to do the same thing over and over and over again for an entire game. And that's not how it's going to work. Sometimes you can't just overpower teams and throw it down low constantly. And, the way that Arizona's going to play this year is going to be a lot different, but yeah, I think that's definitely what I'll be watching out for.
Yeah, and Damon, there's another team in Tucson that's going to have to play a lot different, and that's definitely going to look a lot different, and that's Arizona football. There's some transfer news, Damon, and we're going to talk about it right after this ad break. Don't go anywhere.
Speaking of teams, Kevin.
Yes. Shall we? Shall we talk about Carol Royce and the great team over at Carol Royce Real Estate? The family-owned, locally operated, 3 generations long of family members serving in the Valley of the Sun for Carol Royce Real Estate. Carol and her team have an unbeatable track record, having sold over 12,000 homes.
12,000.
That's more than 11,000, Damon. That's a lot of homes.
That's a ton of homes.
So that's a ton of homes.
It's actually 6 tons.
It's a lot. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of moving a lot of homes there. But anyway, they've sold over 12,000 homes across the country. Carol knows what Arizona real estate market's all about. Choosing the right agent is a huge decision, and too often you're left with doubts on whether you made the right choice. While many agents make big promises, Carol Royce gives written guarantees. Now, written guarantees are a huge deal. You don't get a lot of written guarantees these days. It's a lot of, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then it never happens. Written guarantees are massive. Now, if you're looking to buy your dream home, you've probably been looking on Zillow or Realtor.com. Did you know that with Carol Royce, you have access to thousands of off-market homes that you won't find online? You just won't find them anywhere. But with Carol Royce, if you're considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce, your home sold guaranteed realty. Move up to one of our listings and we will buy your home for cash, Damon. Cash money. Cash money. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's Carol Royce, Royce team.com.
Carol Royce, that's going to be the best way to buy your house here in the Valley. The best way to get tickets anywhere in the entire world is with our friends over at Game Time. The Game Time app, go ahead and download that. They got a new feature called Game Time Picks, which is a curation process that makes it easier to find better value for your tickets, whether that be sports, comedy, concerts, all of the above, festivals, theater, anything that you could buy a ticket for. Game Time has that to offer. And one thing that's really special about Game Time, Kevin, on their app, when you click on your seat, they show you what the view from the seat in the stadium is going to look like. Or
By far my favorite part. Yeah,
100%. In the theater, wherever you are, like they'll show you where you're going to be sitting so that you can take the guesswork out of this buying process. You're not getting an obstructed view that you didn't know about, like you might on a lot of other ticketing apps. Game Time, they don't want to do that to you. They want to help you out. They want to find you the best, cheapest ticket that they possibly can. Game Time Picks is going to help you do that. And of course, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in all of the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying with tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Kevin, what time is it?
Game time!
As you mentioned, Kevin, we do have some football to talk through. Just some news and notes here. I think, honestly, I'm going to kind of switch this order around a little bit just because I think that there is one story that bears the most noting and is probably the biggest deal, and Talk about it. Tacario Davis transferring to Washington. I don't know if that's officially been declared yet, but it has been reported that will be in the works coming up here soon. So of course, Arizona loses their top cornerback from the last 2 seasons to Washington, to Jed Fish, and all of our former assistants and whatnot that are over in Seattle. Kevin, what are your thoughts on Tacario Davis?
I'm kind of bummed, but not totally shocked. This was a move that I think many Arizona fans kind of expected. Maybe not the exact location that Arizona fans maybe expected, but I think it was either likely transfer or pursue NFL draft, right? Like, I don't think this was a situation where he was likely to come back, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm also looking at some of the names here that he's joining of former Wildcats in Washington, Damon, and it's making me sad, man. It's making me sad.
Yeah, I spent a good 15 minutes putting this together beforehand. That's how long this list is. I have it on here in parentheses, I think, because I believe Tacario Davis is now joining 17 other former Arizona football players / recruits that were at one point committed to Arizona under Jed Fish. So 17 others, which makes that number 18, I believe. And I'll just read out a few of those names here, Kevin. Yep. We got Kevin Green, Jonah Coleman, Ephesians Prysock, Anthony Ward, Isaiah Ward, Russell Davis, Jacob Manu, and Tacario Davis will be the players that played snaps at Arizona that will be playing at Washington now. And then Damon Williams, Jordan Washington, Audric Harris, Raheem Wright, Rayshawn Clark, Adam Muhammad, Michael Lavelle Watkins, Justin Heikelma, Charlie Kroll, and Bryce Butler, all guys that were committed to Arizona at one point or another.
That's an entire
a lot of them
small class,
it is a class
of people.
It is essentially a class. That's it bears noting because of that, Kevin. Like it essentially, you lost double-digit amount of freshmen from that one class when Fish left in January, right? That those guys had been, a lot of them were early enrollees that had gone to school for 2 weeks in Tucson, and they made the decision to then transfer as early enrollees over to Washington. yeah, you lost a good portion of like the next crop of players that you were expecting to be in, contributing in your program. So naturally, that's going to hurt any team, especially from a depth perspective. And I think we saw that play out all season long last year.
Yeah, 1000%. And I mean, when you talk about players that didn't really play a snap, but you're losing the potential of what that player could have been for your
like
your
a Damon
program.
Williams is like he didn't play a snap,
Took
but
the name right out of my mouth.
but
man.
he would have been. There's a good chance if he came to Arizona that like in this season, say everything played out the exact way, but for some reason Damon decided to stay at U of A.
Mhm.
I bet you there'd be a good chance that he would be the starter next year and Noah would be transferring to a different school. I feel comfortable saying that, but like he would have been a huge piece of the next iteration of Arizona, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, you are pretty much losing an entire recruiting class here of players, which is just an insane domino effect, right? Like now in the modern era of college sport, one coach retiring means that 2 teams later, Arizona loses an entire class of players and a head coach and all this momentum. It's just it was a crazy situation, and Tacario Davis likely probably the last domino to fall from that, right? You think? I mean,
yeah,
we're probably done talking about.
I'm trying to think of who else would even be an option there. Here in the chat, I see 5 of a Kind Media asks why didn't any of them follow Nansen to Texas instead of Fish? Well, a couple of them did follow Nansen to Texas, notably, of course, Big Bill Norton.
Yep.
And then we lost as well. Just trying to make sure I read this name correctly. Tia Sevilla, who played. It was a big-time contributor at defensive tackle for Arizona last year. So there was a couple of Texas players that left for Texas, but I believe Sevilla happened right away, and Big Bill Norton happened after spring ball or in the middle of spring ball even. So we had a chance to sustain him, whereas a lot of those guys had already left for Washington at that point. I would hope that's the last one. You look at this roster now and you think about, the Fish guys, for lack of a better term, that are on this roster still. Many of them have either already committed to coming back or did visit Washington and ultimately decided to come back. So I think it'd be a real shock if a guy like, Traden Stukes ended up at Washington or something at this point.
That would be a huge shock for sure. Damon, there's also another player from Arizona's roster that is leaving, going out in the speediest of fashions. Speedy Luke is going to Fresno State. Damon, what are your thoughts on Speedy Luke getting up out of Tucson right now?
Yeah, I think Rayshon Luke was someone that we all had a lot of hype for. He was in that initial Jed Fish class that, featured Jacob Cowing, that featured T-Mac. It felt like on paper, like he was going to be, one of the major focal points of this offense for a long time. And it just didn't work out that way, right? Like he never really saw the snaps that you would expect. I'll never forget that touchdown he had against Washington State and Cam Ward to start that kind of catapult that Arizona had into the final push of the season, where they played really, really, really good football down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, it sucks to see a guy leave that you had a lot of expectations for. He was a high 4-star recruit out of St. John Bosco. Someone that was pretty highly regarded, had a great Army All-American game. I remember that was like a source of a lot of our joy as Arizona fans. We were like so hyped when he was breaking away touchdowns, Kevin, in the Army All-American game. And we were like, okay, why don't we just, off of a 1-win season, our running backs doing that? We were like, why don't we just put us in the college football playoff next
season? Just like right Arizona in there.
Yeah,
right now,
pencil it in. But yeah, as Lost Highway puts in the chat, I think this is a good level for Speedy. Fresno State seems like a good fit, and kind of where he probably should be at, just given his size and his inability to find playing time at a higher level. I like that step down into the Mountain West and kind of get things right. And I hope he sees a lot of playing time.
I agree. And you speak to the playing time, and Arizona's bringing in an Ishmael Mahdi, and if you're Speedy Luke, and if Fresno State's saying, hey, you can play a lot more here than you're going to play at Arizona, I would also take that as well if I was him. So yeah, totally makes sense, and I think Lost Highway's onto it with that one. I think he's probably finding his level there. And yeah, we also have some more positive news though for you guys. The king of pop, Michael Jackson, is visiting Arizona. Oh, wait, no, not that one. But a different Michael Jackson is visiting Arizona. CJ James is also visiting Arizona. And then, Damon, we do have a commit, though. There is a commit.
Yes, we do. Aiden Garnes committed to Arizona from West Virginia. He's a former West Virginia corner last year. He sustained a season-ending injury last year for West Virginia, so didn't get to play out that entire season. But before that, played at Duquesne for 3 seasons, where he was a really, really good player at Duquesne. Had an 87.4 PFF grade in 2023 at Duquesne. So, that's elite. Like, I don't know. Again, Duquesne, like, think about the level of competition there, but that is a genuinely elite grade. Was a starter at West Virginia before he went down with that injury. Definitely think that this is a guy who's going to play a lot of snaps for Arizona next year. And I'm not ready to say it yet because I haven't watched enough of him, but I wouldn't be shocked if this is an upgrade over an MGK or over a Emmanuel Carnley, who is somehow the best transfer recruit in the entire country.
Yeah, no, I mean, you were talking about it when we did our tier maker episode. If y'all haven't saw that, it was actually our first inaugural episode, so go check that out. But, we were ranking some of the transfers that have come to Arizona already, and Damon acutely pointed out that Arizona's defensive back room is quickly becoming one of its shining stars with some returning players and some transfer guys coming in. I think that Aiden Garnes will fit right into that competition-based kind of room where everyone's going to be trying to fight for their role. I think that it's another good pickup for Arizona. You just want guys with some level of proven, ability to play.
Definitely.
And he is the definition of that, the high PFF grade that you spoke to, the experience of playing 3 years at Duquesne. I know Duquesne is not high level, but, you have that experience of just playing snaps or just playing reps, getting reps against good on good. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds for the DB room specifically for Arizona's defense next year.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've talked a lot about the DB room, and when we did that tier ranking, we kind of came to the conclusion that the DB room was one of the healthier rooms probably on campus in terms of where Arizona football is sitting right now.
Certainly healthier than Coronado.
I'm sorry, I don't get the reference.
No, the dorm, it's just it's just nasty.
I didn't realize we were talking dorms right now.
You said it was the cleanest room. I just said it's a low bar, Anyway.
Fair enough. That's on me. So they have now gotten a commitment from San Jose cornerback Michael Dansby, who was a starter for the Spartans last year. Texas cornerback Javon Cole, who was at San Jose State, went to Texas last year, didn't finish out the season, but was a really highly regarded player out of the Mountain West. And then Stanford safety Jayshon Frosto Ramos, who could play a little bit of nickel corner. And they, of course, join a defensive backfield already that has Dalton Johnson, Traden Stukes. Yeah, I mean, it's set up decently well. Oh, Jack Luttrell as well, I should mention. It's set up decently well for us as far as the DB room goes.
Yeah, it really is. I'm excited to see the potential of some of these guys. My biggest thing, and the reason I'm most excited for Arizona's transfer additions, is just seeing which one of their abilities kind of transfers over to the Big 12 level, right? We have a lot of players coming in that it's a, boom or bust. We talked about that in our tier maker, but a lot of players that could get better at the Big 12 level and really showcase themselves on that level and become, drastically more known than they would have been at the level they were playing at previously. But I think that I'm really excited to see the development of some of these guys. And if they develop it, that's also a point of this as well.
Yeah, as far as the defensive side of the football goes, that's definitely going to be the group that we have, the most strength in, I think, going into the season. Lots of guys with starter experience, lots of guys that have played meaningful snaps at the college level, and lots of guys that have played meaningful snaps for Arizona at the college level as well. Like, not just you have more returners in that room than you do at essentially every other spot. So that's going to really have to be the strength of this defense, I think, and honestly, there are worse strengths to have than, your defensive back group in the year of 2025 with the way that passing offenses have developed and whatnot. Like, I'd honestly probably rather be good at stopping the pass than stopping the run. But you would like to be good at both. So it's I won't say that that's just entirely the truth, but I'm confident that this Arizona defensive back room is going to be a positive for this team next season at this point.
Yeah, I am as well, Damon, and we're gonna, I'm sure, be talking a lot about Arizona's defensive back room as we get closer to that season. But I'm excited to talk a little bit about Koa Peat, and we're gonna do that right after this ad break. Don't go anywhere on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Keep it tasty, Tucson. You know what time it is. It is neutral time. Neutral is a great drink, but I don't feel neutral about neutral. I feel really, really good about neutral. Let me tell you what. This is a public service announcement for all of our hard seltzer lovers out there. Neutral tastes good. It tastes real, real good. Made with real ingredients. None of that artificial fluff stuff that you get in some other brands that we're not going to talk about here because they're inferior to neutral. But neutral stands on its own. It's so good that you'll never, ever want to taste artificially flavored stuff. It has real ingredients like vodka, seltzer, real juice, and that juice could be pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange, and more. They have so many different flavors, Damon. I think my favorite is probably the pineapple, but I gotta try the black cherry. I've never had a black cherry neutral. I gotta try a black.
Sounds pretty good.
It does sound pretty good.
I mean, you're just an island boy though, Kevin. That's why you like that pineapple.
I'm not gonna sing it. Nothing goes better than college football or college basketball and a neutral hard vodka seltzer. Neutral, keep it tasty, Tucson. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch neutral flavored vodka and carbonation. St. Louis, Missouri. Shout out to the 314.
For sure. Shout out the 314. Also, shout out our good local companies that are making a difference here in the Valley and in the great state of Arizona. Branded Bills. Branded Bills, of course, they have the campus collection. So for all you U of A fans, I know you've seen those Branded Bills hats. They got the cactus logo hats. They got a state outline with the U of A in the middle, U of A block A in the middle. Help me out here, Kevin. What other type of? They got black, they got white, navy, red, any type of color you could want, any logo you could want.
They got camo white, camo gray, camo black.
All
regular
the options.
Gray, regular black. You want the monochrome? You want the white on black? You want the black on white? We got it all. They got it all. Branded Bills, you want it? They got it.
And every type of style of hat as well. Like you can get the mesh back hats, snapback. You can get like more of a dad cap style. That's what Branded Bills has to offer. I'm obviously, kind of promoting the U of A stuff, trying to gear to our audience, but that's not all that they have over there at Branded Bills. They got campus collection for other universities as well. We won't mention one of them, but
they do charity. You can say it. They do charity with ASU.
They do charity work for sure. They're good people over there at Branded Bills. Of course, they're doing charity, and of course, you can also do customized brand segments with Branded Bills.
What is happening
as well?
We got Anthony Totri trying to ruin the show. I would just like to say that I don't do that on his show. We don't do that.
I've never done that on his show.
Because we're respectful Arizona graduates.
Correct. But that's kind of just the vibe here at this company is,
That's what we got to put up with on a daily basis.
Yeah. Partnerships with ASU, U of A, GCU, and other universities as well. Elevate your company's brand, your softball team, anything that you have going on. Elevate that brand, and then it of course is a local company here in Mesa, Arizona. We love to support our friends and our local companies here in the Valley and in the great state of Arizona. Head to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX. That's PHNX for 20% off your first order. I'm with you, Eduardo.
Yeah,
I will.
I'm
you know
fully
what?
with
I
Eduardo
will
here.
tell him to shove that fork where the sun don't shine. Kevin, that was disrespectful.
It was super disrespectful. And we had Shane. I think Eduardo was actually referring to our head of production, Shane, who walked past me in the first segment of the show and threw a very subliminal hand signal up there. Which we're not
I didn't even
accept.
notice that one.
Yeah, that's how subliminal it was. That's how sneaky they are with it. The sneaky Sun Devils, we don't like them. We don't like them at all.
I didn't realize that's what we were doing.
Yeah, no, I guess we're just doing that now.
No,
I
I didn't.
Should we just pop in on their show?
Yeah,
and just try to make a mockery of what they work so hard on every day too, or what?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna. You literally laid out exactly what my plan is now to do. Because if that's what we're doing, then I'm fine doing that. But it just don't complain to me when I walk into Studio K and I peek across the glass and I'm.
Hey!
Don't be mad at me. That's not my fault. Shout out everybody in the chat here. Shout out Eduardo for being all the right kind of aggressive. I think in that chat there. Tom, 5 of a Kind Media, Dan Joyce, TMB, Erica Day, PM Beam, just letting us know we're a hoop school. We know. Lost Highway, of course. He's been a consistent guy in the chat here. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys like this video. Helps us out dearly, and it helps Kevin sleep at night. He had a rough night's sleep last night because we didn't get enough likes on last week's shows.
I woke up at 3 a.m. today, guys. We didn't get enough likes on the last show, and I woke up at 3 a.m. That's all I gotta say, right? That's all I should have to say.
Poor Kevin. Something else you guys are gonna like: Koa Peat coming to Tucson.
Let's talk
a little
about
bit early. A little bit early, Kevin. Like this is a little preview for Koa Peat in Tucson. Get used to the area a little bit. Maybe find a couple food spots that he likes, that he enjoys. He's gonna be right near down there on campus, playing against Tucson High tomorrow. Kevin, what do you think about Koa Peat?
Oh man, I am so excited for tomorrow, Damon. I cannot wait for Koa Peat to be in Tucson. It's a little foreboding, isn't it? It's kind of like foreshadowing a little bit. You know what I mean? That Koa Peat is going to come down to Tucson, play one of his last high school games, and then hopefully start his new page of his new chapter in that same city of Tucson for the University of Arizona, right? So, I mean, Koa Peat's balling, man. He just dominated the Hoop Hall West little showcase situation on January 3rd and January 4th. January 3rd, he had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 blocks, Damon. I don't know. That seems pretty good if you ask me. But then he followed that up with just an everyday 25, 16, and 7 performance. I mean, Koa Peat is one of those players that when you watch his high school highlights, it's a man against boys. That is a high level athlete for sure. There's no question about it. It's about where he's going to play at the next level, right?
Well, just look at his family.
Yeah. He has that lineage that really helps him out with that athleticism and the instincts out there on the court. But
most notably, his brother Andres Peat played guard in the NFL for the Saints, and I think still is in the NFL, but played for a really, really long time. Good player. The Peat family, they're pretty high level athletes, and Koa looks to be potentially the best one of the bunch.
Andres Peat, 31-year-old, currently plays for the Raiders, offensive tackle.
Nice.
Raiders.
Yeah, I knew he was getting up there in years a little bit, but not too old, still playing. Kind of weird the age discrepancy there, to be honest with you. Interesting to think about, but Koa Peat, just a phenomenal player, and hopefully he's we got people showing him some love at his game tomorrow. I'd assume that there's gonna be a good contingency of U of A fans that show up that want to get a good look at Koa Peat close up and personal.
I'd be shocked if that gym wasn't packed, Damon. I'd be shocked. If
I'd be there.
We know our guy Saul is trying to show up to that one and link up with Koa, see what he has to say about Arizona, and talk it up with him there. So excited to see what Saul reports back with that. But yeah, I'm super hyped. It's always a fun time. Like some people who just go with me on this. Some people who just can't stay with a partner for very long. And nothing's wrong with the partners. Nothing's wrong with them. They just love the chase. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what it's like being a fan during recruiting. I just love the chase.
Oh yeah.
Like just
because then I just imagine.
Potential? It's like, oh my god, we could have Koa. Oh my gosh, they could get Elijah Arenas. Oh my gosh, and you compare him with Braden Burries. Oh, and you're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of Bryce James fairy dust on top just to make it magical. Like, let's go. Let's get everybody to Tucson. See, that's what I love about the recruiting. 100%. And having a program that Tommy Lloyd is leading at the spearhead of, I think that we're gonna have a lot more fun chases with these high 5-star recruits.
I'm with you, man. That's that part of sports is the transaction is always like the most fun outside of actually winning a championship, right? People love trades, they love the draft. Like that's always been the case with sports. The recruiting is very similar. It's just college's version of that. And yeah, I would be lying if I said I haven't been thinking about a lineup of Burries, Carter Bryant, Starter Bryant, Burries, Starter Bryant, Aristotle, Koa Peat, and I don't know, KJ Lewis, maybe Jaden Bradley, maybe like that. That feels good. Yeah. That feels real good. You love to see that. And honestly, I don't see where that team loses. That team might go undefeated, Kevin.
Man, that team is athletic. That team is dangerous. And
how do they lose? Which game do they lose?
The SEC schools in football, they've been undefeated in hypothetical scenarios. I think Arizona basketball with Koa Peat, Braden Burries, undefeated in hypothetical scenarios. They might be 4-time national titles.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, no, I'm excited, Damon. I know you're excited too. And we have a post game tomorrow, Damon. Post game on a Tuesday. How about that?
Club going up on a Tuesday. We got post game tomorrow. We're gonna be covering our West Virginia game. We'll be there, of course, after the final tip, or after the final whistle, I should say. Opening tip, final whistle, different things. We will be covering that game, of course, and you're gonna want to make sure you're following our account PHNX_Wildcats on Twitter. Where we're gonna have all sorts of information. That's gonna be the hub for your Arizona Wildcats news, including live tweets during the game. Kevin's a good memer. I
try my best.
He's a professional memer.
Yeah,
I would say
semi-pro. I'm in the minors right now. You know, there are some people on Arizona Twitter that are in the majors for sure with the memes. You know, I got to get there.
Who's better than who's got better than you, Kevin?
Hey man, we're not going to talk about the competition right now, man. But you know, we go out there every day to make some good jokes.
I just want a name. I just want a name. Who's better at memeing than Kevin Thomas on Arizona Wildcats Twitter?
Maybe not better, but there's more active memers. I'll say that much.
Fair enough.
There's some active memers. There is really no better or worse memers. It's just we all like to enjoy jokes about our favorite alma mater, right? So let's all make some fun
I'm not
memes.
better than anybody. I'm not better than everybody else. I'm just one of you guys.
My awful jokes on Twitter are no better than anyone else's awful jokes on Twitter. You know, so who am I to get on a high horse? But yes, no.
Honestly, Kobe's pretty good.
That's the first name that came to mind.
That's honestly fair. I think it's Kobe v. Kevin though.
But also, shout out to Kobe. I don't want a Kobe v. Kevin because I don't want the smoke with Kobe on Twitter. Kobe.
Oh no,
I'm
not in that way. Just in terms of like who's elite at memeing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's like LeBron versus MJ, brother. That doesn't mean that the other guy's bad at basketball.
That's facts.
It just means that they're the two goats.
That's facts. Kobe did say on Twitter that he wants to take Arizona Twitter to the next level.
I did see that. I'm all with that.
So yeah, I'm all with that. If we gotta go band for band with the memes this year to do that, let's do it, Kobe. Like, let's go band for band. Let's go meme for meme. Let's do it. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. Let's do it. Let's take Arizona Twitter to the next level in 2025. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we're gonna have everything that you need post game and during the game. Make sure you guys, like I said, follow our account at PHNX_Wildcats. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Follow my boy Kevin at Kevo Posts. That's KEVOPOSTS. Follow Erica Day at Erica Lee Day.
Go ahead. You can do that too.
Yeah. Well,
why not?
Erica will I presume be at the game helping us out with our coverage there, following some post game comments from Tommy Lloyd and whoever happens to play well. But or actually we're playing in West Virginia, aren't we? But
yeah, by God, West Virginia.
Erica, you better get out to West Virginia now because
I heard there's snowstorms. So
there's a game tomorrow, and I just set you on duty for doing post game availability for that guy. So we're gonna need you to start looking at flights right at this exact moment. Thank you guys for watching. Like Erica said, become a diehard and join Erica in the Discord. Join Saul, me, Erica, Kevin. We're gonna get that Discord up and popping. It's gonna be the best place for Arizona fans to chat just generally about the game and what's going on in the world of Arizona athletics. Kevin, anything before we get out of here?
No, I am super hyped for Arizona versus West Virginia, Damon. I can't.
Yeah.
How many hours? Only one more sleep, and I'm excited. One more sleep until, by God, West Virginia goes down to Arizona tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely. I would say the Duke game was the biggest of the season, but after that, I don't see any world where this isn't number 2, especially considering it's kind of a revenge game of sorts. So we'll have you locked and loaded for that. And, of course, we'll see you tomorrow on the AZ Wildcats postgame show.
We all silly like the mayor.